Hey guys, I'm going to make a little video on the Toolsetter on my 620. So, for about, I don't know, 9-10 months, and I believe it started to settle in a little bit over that period of time, whether it's just the rails or something. But either way, every time I touch a tool off on my tool probe, I'm about somewhere in the range of 12 to 14 thousandths off, right? So I've had to offset the tool right out of the gate, right? So I didn't have to do that originally. It was within, say, a thou or so, but now I'm consistently having to put somewhere in the range of 12 to 14 thou. So what I've decided to do is go ahead and tweak the position or the parameters that control this, so that when you touch the tool off, it's going to put the data into, let me go to the geometry, and I need to have it basically just offset that a little bit, right? So I'm just going to change the parameters that control that. So if you hit your system key and you type in 5015 number search or 5016 number search, you're going to see a list of parameters. So 5015 to 5018 control the probe itself, right? So each parameter is one side of the probe. So you have four sides. You got four sides of the probe, right? So the top side is going to be, if you touch it on the top side of the probe, it's going to be 5016, controls that. 5015 on the bottom, 17 on the front, and 5018 on the back. The way I remember, because it's kind of backwards in the description, right? But 5016 says distance to minus of x t-s1. So that's for the tool setter on the spindle one side. So if you're touching a tool off that cuts on the main spindle, this is what controls it. So it's going to be different, right? If you're touching this tool off but you're going to be working to the sub spindle, it's a different parameter, because it's going to be separate. That way you can control everything separately. So there's just a different list of parameters for that. I think it's 5097 is where that starts, but I'm just going to be showing you setting the parameters for, say, working on spindle one. So distance to minus of x, right? So I've always remembered it because it's which direction you are holding the jog button axis to touch the tool off. So when I touch this tool off, I'm jogging x minus, right? That's how I know that it's 5016. If you ever forget, you can just, tweak one of the numbers and see if it moves, your offset, your geometry when you touch it off. So what I did, the first thing that I did is I took a picture of this page. I think that's really important, because if you mess anything up, you always can go back to your original number and at least start from there. So this number was 73.355. 73.355, right? So what I did is I wanted to move my x, or I have been having to move my x about 14 thousandths, right? So I need to convert that into a metric number, and that comes out to 3556 millimeters. And I found out that if I have to move my x negative 14 thousandths, I need to move the parameter a positive number, right? So if you have to offset a negative, you need to move the parameter by a positive number. So what I did is I went into MDI, right? Because you have to be in MDI to change a parameter. I just typed in 0.3556, and then I hit input plus, right? And it'll just add to that, which is really nice. You don't have to do the math and fat finger something. So I offset that, right? Well, actually, before I did that, I went ahead and I touched the tool off the way that I have been before I changed anything. So I touched the tool off, and then I wrote the number down, what was put in the geometry from that, right? So I went ahead and I touched the tool off, and then I changed the parameter. That way I have a starting point. I have a starting point here, right, because I took a picture of that, and then I have a starting point from where I need a starting point minus the 14 thousandths. So then I went to my offset page, right, and I added a negative of 14 thousandths to tool 10. So that's where I need to be, right? So if I touch the tool off without touching anything, it's not going to be that. It's going to be positive 14 thousandths. So I went ahead and I just added in a negative 14 thousandths, and then I went to my parameter and I changed that by a positive 0.3556, which is the metric for 14 thousandths, the conversion. So I changed that, and then I went back into jog, and it pulls this page right back up because it knows that you're touching a tool off. And I went ahead and just touched the tool off again, and it changed it very slightly from where I had it. I think it changed it by 1 thou. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Right? So if I'm within 1 thou or 2, that's okay, because tool pressure, it's going to change tool by tool. So now I have my parameter that I've changed, and that's my new number, and I have reset, or I've tweaked the position that it calculates when touching off tools only on the positive side. I'll do the other sides as I need them, but this is the one that was getting the most use, so that's what I did. So again, 50-15 to 50-18 control the sides of the probe when you're touching off. Right, so if you need to tweak one of those, you can tweak 50-16 if it's a tool that you're touching the top side, 50-15 for the bottom, and then Z for the negative and positive side of that. Thanks, guys.